Welcome to this Monday data webinar. I'm Martin Carlson, and today we'll talk about Data Lake and Snowflake, or at least how to connect Azure Data Lake with Snowflake. So, I'm not here right now. I'm in a meeting. This is a pre-recording. I usually like to, be online, answer questions, but unfortunately that was not possible this time. So bear with me. What we'll discuss, or why this is extremely interesting, is that Snowflake and Data Lake, if you combine them, you actually have, you kind of have the best of both worlds. You have an archive layer where you have all the history, like everything. You just keep adding to it. And then you have the structured way in Snowflake. Snowflake is, amongst many things, extremely good at structuring. It's really good. You are good at structuring in Snowflake. It's very easy to structure things in Snowflake, and Snowflake is a really strong engine when it comes to working with larger amount of data and complex data set. I mean, usually when you start working with it, you get surprised on something that would take 5 minutes before it's down to 10 or 20 seconds. It's really fast. It's optimized for analytics. So this is a pure technical webinar. I will show you the steps that you need to take to move from to move your data from Azure Blob storage to Snowflake. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me via email. My email will be in the chat. And without further ado, here's the webinar. To create this Azure Blob Snowflake integration, I've created a README file on GitHub and put it in my repository, Martin Carlson at Business Intelligence Goodies, and then just click on Snowflake. So the first thing we need to do is we need to create a blob. All the things is pre-prepared, so I'll just show you exactly what you should click on Azure and what you should write on in Snowflake. So the first thing you need to create is a blob storage, a blob store, or what you call it. So I created here. It's a storage account. Remember blob when you are choosing what you should choose. Open here, and we can see it. It has a container. It has a container called a Snowflake demo, and we will upload a file called test file, just for testing. Upload. Use this test file and put it in a folder called files. Upload. It's a small file, so that's it. We will use this file later. And I can see it's located here. Go back to the resource group. So then you need to find the tenant ID, because you need to use that 2 times in this tutorial. I'll not show you exactly why, because I don't want people to see exactly what it looks like. But you click on Azure Active Directory. You click on Properties on the right side, or you search up here for Azure Active Directory. Then you click on Property on the left side, and then you copy the field called Directory ID. Okay, now you go to Snowflake and create a few objects. The first one is you create a file format. Since this is not so much a Snowflake tutorial, I will not explain exactly what it is, but generally what it is a way for Snowflake to interpret CSV files. So this is a CSV file. The delimiter here, field delimiter, is a comma. But you run this one. Since everything is done, I've not run it. Then you create a storage integration. And that is, it's a storage integration. This is the name of it. This is it's an external stage. It's provider. It is enabled. The tenant ID is the one you got from here. The location is the blob account that you created in there, and then the container name. Then we need to connect it, or then we need to authenticate it to Azure. So
we run this one here. Describe storage integration and the name. Run. And then two things are important here. One of them is this number here, 151. Remember that one. It will of course be different at your case, but remember that one. And then we will go to this URL. When you go to this URL, you will be asked to first log in. You probably should use your administrator here, and then you need to give consent to Azure connecting to Snowflake. But there, just follow this this link. So write down this one, because you will need it, and then go to the console. Then we need to go back to Azure and create a role for this one here. So we will go to access, and the way you do it is you assign a role. The role that you should choose is storage blob data contributor. Storage blob data contributor, choose this one, and then here, and then choose the one that you just created, 151. To test if everything is correct, you can go view role assignment, click here, view, and then it should be here. So this is this one. Then go back in Snowflake, and now we need to create what is called a stage. Again, I will not run it, but this is one of the places where you will use the file format and the integration you just created, and then blob account, container, and you can also write path here, but I will not do this. Then create an external table. So create a replace external table. Test table is the name, location. So here, Azure stage. This is the one we created here. Files, this is the folder that we just created, and the file format. So run this one. And now we got data. So this data is not stored in Snowflake. This data is stored in the blob storage, and you can see it pulls it in via JSON. So to handle this and make it a bit more pretty, we'll do like this. You can see the column is called value. So value C1. This is the way that Snowflake handles JSON. It's very pretty. It's very easy to use. The way that it converts it to a number is integer. It's just colon, and then you take what data type you want, and then as name, you do it the same with the string, and then we got a table that we need. But this way of doing things has an issue, because it does not update automatically. The reason why this was updated was because I created this one here. So if I just start adding new files to this blob storage, it will not work, or it will not pull in the data, because it will only pull in the data when I create this one. So we need to set up a notification to Snowflake to know each time that an external table has been updated. So the way we do this, we create a queue in Snowflake, back to resources. Queue. We create a container in this one. No, sorry. Queue. So we've created queue. Yes, and here we go. So again, write this URL down. you do by storage account. In the same, you actually create the same type of storage account that you created up here, but in this one you create a service queue, and then you create a queue, and then you got this. Then you do the exact same thing as you did before. Copy and run this one with the URL that you just got, and the container name, and the tenant ID. And remember, Azure notification integration. This is the name of this one. Then you do the same thing here again with describing it. Describe notification integration, and here we get the same with a URL. And when you do this, when you run this URL, it will tell you the name. So the name before Snowflake 151. This is, for some reason you cannot see it here, but it will show up when you go through this URL. Write it down, because it's important that you remember it. Again, we need to give access. So queue access control role assignment, the exact same thing we did before. Here, choose, and here storage queues data contributor. Storage queue data, choose this one, and then again. And here it was important that you did remember which one of them it was. So we won't go through this. We will just look at the roles, and we get this down here. This was 152, and yes, so this is working now. Then create an event grid subscription. Let me see if I can find it. An event grid subscription. You go to search here, event grid subscription, and we'll just use see the one that we had. So we had a storage account, and it was located in West Europe, and yeah, this is the one we created. So you can see the topic is the blob storage, and the endpoint is the storage queue. So if we look at this one, we get a few information about it, but this is when you create it. Just remember that the topic is the blob storage, and the queue is why can't I go back? Yes, the topic is the blob storage, and the queue is the queue that you created. So in Snowflake, you create this notification. No, we just did that. So back in Snowflake, we will create the same external table, but with this notification integration that we just created, and it's set to auto refresh. So we run this one, and nope. And you can see, just as expected, it had these 3 columns. But if we look at the second file, it just has 1 row. So we will try and upload that, and if everything goes well, it will be seen in Snowflake. So click here, choose containers, choose this one, choose files, upload, select the file, select number 2, upload. Goes as it should. I should be able to see the 4th row. You can see the 4th row here. Boom, magic.
Thank you very much for watching this webinar. I think this is a really interesting topic. And when doing these kind of things, I had a lot of technical issues, or there's just so many different things that I need to do in the right order. So it actually took me some time to do for the first time. So that is why I shot this webinar. So you don't have to spend all that time setting it up. If you have any questions, especially also with moving data from on-premise or from your source systems to Blob storage, don't hesitate to ask. I mean, I will always take a meeting. Thank you very much for attending, and have a nice Monday.